how much of a good buyer are willing and able to purchase during a given period, other things being equal, while elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of buyers and sellers to change in market conditions. There are elastic demand and inelastic demand. Elastic demand is a change in price leads to quantity demand changing substantially, while in inelastic demand, a change in price leads to a little change in the quantity demand. Price elasticity of demand can be determined by necessities versus luxuries, availability of close substitutes, definition of market, and time horizon. For necessities versus luxuries are elastic demand and necessities are inelastic demand. It is because luxuries have many substitutes while necessities are inelastic because of demand for them doesn't change much when price change. Next, when the goods have many close substitution, it is elastic demand. While the goods have few close substitutions, it is inelastic demand. After that, the definition of market elastic demand is narrower because it implies fewer substitutes, which increase the price of demand, while the definition of market inelastic demand is broader because it implies more available substitutes, which lowers the price elasticity of demand. Lastly, the longer the time horizon, the more elastic the demand. So, elastic demand is long run because consumers have more time to respond to price change and change their shopping habits. Inelastic demand is short run because consumers don't have time to find alternative. In the short run, it's usually lower because consumers don't have much time to react.
The question is, we have the same item, which is chocolate bread, but from a different company. Quantity 1, the price is Rm 1.1, while in quantity 2, the price is 1.2. The quantity demand are 30 unit to 40 unit. For example, 40 minus 30 divide 30 times 1.1 divide 1.2 minus 1.1. So the answer is 3.67.
For example, 40 minus 30 divide 30 plus 40 divide by 2. 1 ringgit and 20 cent minus 1 ringgit 10 cent divide 1 ringgit 10 cent plus 1 ringgit 20 cent divide by 2. The total of midpoint method is 3.39.
Okay, the first graph is graph elastic. This graph elasticity show that how the quantity demand respond to change in price. The graph show that the elasticity is elastic. The graph show curve that flat horizontally. Or Q1 represent mighty white bread which cost Rm 1 ringgit 10 cent, while quantity 2 represent gardenia bread which cost Rm 1 ringgit 20 cent. The demand for mighty white bread represent Q1, for the gardenia bread represent Q2. The demand for mighty white bread is higher than gardenia bread because the price offered for mighty white bread is lower than gardenia bread. The second graph is perfectly elastic. Elasticity of demand that is completely elastic or perfectly elastic involve a graph that very flat horizontally. This means that consumers are willing to buy a certain amount of goods at a certain price, but are not willing to pay more or less. In this case, the elasticity value is infinite. For example, if the price of mighty white bread P1 increase, the graph will show that the total demand for this bread does not change and remain at the same level. The same goes for gardenia bread. The third graph is inelastic graph. Inelasticity of demand that not flexible inelastic can be seen through a graph that tends to be stronger or almost vertical. This shows that consumers are less responsive to price change. In inelastic state, a decrease in price will not have a large effect on quantity demand. And currently, an increase in price may produce little change in quantity demand. This is usually the case for basic necessities where consumers may need the item regardless of price change. For example, the demand of multi white bread P1 and gardenia bread P2 will show that price change do not have a significant effect on total demand. The demand curve will tend to be less responsive to price change, indicating low price elasticity. This may be due to the lack of accurate substitutes or consumer trust in the two brands.
Perfectly inelastic. Only inelastic demand elasticity is represented in a graph with very steep vertical line. This means the quantity demand do not change even if the price change. For example, we look at the demand for a very important food. In other words, when the price P1 or P2 change, the quantity demand remain relatively stable or does not change significantly. Next, graph unit elastic. This graph reflects the sensitivity of consumer who makes change in total income then to be offset by change in the amount of good demand. Elastic unit graph can have an extent to which price change affect the demand for multi white bread and gardenia bread, providing insight into the market sensitivity to price factor.
Total revenue, price multiplied with quantity. The first one is demand inelastic. A small change in price will lead to greater change in quantity. In demand inelastic, the total revenue will decrease. If the bread face elastic demand, an increase in the price leads to proportionately larger decrease in quantity, so the total revenue will decrease. In this case, when the price rises from 5 to 6, it causes the quantity demanded fall from 100 to 40, so the total revenue also will fall from 1,500 to 2,040. The second, demand is inelastic. A substantial in the price will lead to proportionately smaller change in quantity demanded. In demand inelastic, total revenue will increase. If the bread from brand X face inelastic demand, an increase in the price will lead to proportionately smaller decrease in quantity demanded. So, the total revenue rises from 400 to 900.